road. What do the Romney people think of that?
Well, having just talked to one of the key people in the Romney campaign, they think not. They think that that Florida and beyond in the month of February is going to be their time to show that their organization, that their financial strength, that their ability to go back to their people will win the day, that Newt will trip up somewhere, that Newt's not well organized enough to play in a big field. It's one thing to do Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina. Limited time, limited space. You can build a sense of surging momentum in one quick place with free media. In Florida and then in states beyond, so the Romney people think, they're going to have the money to play everywhere with paid advertising. I think they underestimate Newt Gingrich's ability to command the airwaves with free media, his ability to make news at all times, his ability to be irresistible copy for us and for television. But that's what the Romney people are thinking.
Suppose Newt Gingrich, I don't know if he could pull this off as kind of a vaudeville act. Could he meet every time he agrees to a news reporter's interview on any network, he turns it into a fight? Well, with the media. Can he keep doing this gig over and over?
No, but Newt's much more creative than that. I've covered him forever. He will think of seminars. He will think of his own little conventions. He will think of other media events that we will be required to cover, to listen to Newt Gingrich expound on the issues and attack Barack Obama. And he's a master at getting free attention, not just by attacking the media. He will now, having gotten where he's gotten by attacking us, he's now going to figure out how to use us to get free media. He'll pick fights with other people. He will challenge other people. He will talk about taxes. He will talk about Mitt Romney and taxes from now till the cows come home.
Well, it sounds like it's very good news for cable television. I mean, we're going to watch this fist fight out there. I agree, but this is going to, Rachel, this is going to be the fist fight, an ongoing kind of a barroom brawl from now to the end of the spring. It's going to be fascinating to cover for Republicans who aren't usually that frisky. Your thought? Well, back to you, Rachel.
I appreciate it, Chris. Thank you. I have to say that if Newt Gingrich had not been in this position in the race right now, I, as a cable news person, would be trying to conjure him out of dust so we could have somebody like this to talk about. Curtis Loftus is state treasurer for the state of South Carolina. He's also the South Carolina chairman for Mitt Romney's campaign. Mr. Secretary, thanks very much for joining us. It's nice to have you here.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's a real honor.
Your candidate, Mr. Romney, a week ago had a pretty big lead in South Carolina. Polls across the board showing him with double-digit leads in the state. Over the course of this past week, that is no longer the case. And he, in the polls heading into today, seems now to be trailing Newt Gingrich. It's just been a precipitous fall. We in the news media, of course, have all of our own explanations for why that might have happened. But in the Romney campaign in South Carolina, how do you explain it? What do you think happened?
Well, I think there's a lot of volatility, and we've expected this. When I became state chairman back in August, we were looking for a third-place finish, and now we're worried about whether we're first or not. So we've exceeded our expectations in this red state, and it's the reddest of red states. I'm a member of the Tea Party. I'm an evangelical Christian. We're supposed to be the folks that wouldn't vote for Romney, but a lot of us have. So I think all in all, he's going to have a great showing here, and this sets him up for the rest of the trail. There's a long way to go, and we're ideally positioned for that.
Let me ask you about one issue that has been sort of an unexpected difficulty for Mr. Romney this week, and that is the very predictable question of his tax returns. Governor Romney has gone from saying he doesn't intend to release his tax returns to saying he'd consider it, to saying he's not opposed to it, to saying he'd probably do it, to now finally saying he will do it, but he's not sure how many years. Why wasn't there a clear position from the campaign on this from the get-go? It seems that you've made it more of an issue than anybody else could, simply by the candidate changing his mind so many times.
Well, I think that the original plan was for him to release it in April, which is when generally these candidates do that. I think they were caught flat-footed this week. They just hadn't thought about it. They were going to do it in April, and they could have handled it better. I don't think that's as big an issue with real-life people as it is with the media. And you can understand it. No one likes their taxes. No one likes to pay, and no one understands how to do their taxes. So it's a complicated issue, and it's a good one-liner, but don't think it really had that much of an effect.
Let me ask you, this is Al Sharpton. Do you think the fact that you have over 9% unemployment in South Carolina, you also, even though you're saying the state's coming up, are going to be easier for your candidate. But you do have economic problems in Florida and Nevada and going forward. As long as he has this image of being a guy that may not be paying the same percentage of taxes as others, the Bain controversy, that he's Mr. Wall Street, how do you counter that going forward? And don't you think that might have hurt him in your state with the unemployment as high as it is?
No, I don't think that was that's a smokescreen. In the Republican primary, those aren't big issues. We like free enterprise, we like capitalism, we like successful people. I've been fairly successful, and I like to be more successful, and that's the way everybody I know
I'm talking about the fairness of it. The fairness issue. Everybody likes successful. We talk about whether it seemed to be unfair.
That's right. And anybody that pays their taxes legally should be proud of that. And he does that. He didn't set the tax rates. In fact, if he becomes the president, he'll have a whole lot more say about that. The tax code has been around for a long time. There are a lot of Democrats, a lot of Republicans, and a lot of those folks are still in office. And they've all had a hand in that. So, we pay what we're supposed to pay, and that's how it works. Again, that'll be a big issue in the general election, because any Republican that comes out of the primary as a nominee is going to be hit with that. This 1 versus 100 thing is going to be out there, and we're going to have to live with it. But I've driven across country 20 times in my life, and I've never met anybody that didn't like the idea of free enterprise and didn't like the idea of people being successful. So I'm not going to ever run from that.
Mr. Loftus, it's Lawrence O'Donnell here. I just wanted to ask you, with your Tea Party hat on, how you have managed to get over the fact that Mitt Romney imposed an individual health care mandate in Massachusetts, and that his response to that in the national campaign is simply that he believes it is good for Massachusetts, that an individual mandate is actually a very good thing for Massachusetts, but it's not a good thing for any other state. He wants to repeal the Obama individual mandate that is now in law. Should he be saying something about actually repealing it in Massachusetts?
Well, no, I love your home state. I spent a lot of time in Newton and Thoreau and all those great places where I'm the only conservative there. And when you start looking, I'm the only conservative Republican, Baptist, evangelical on all of Cape Cod. So I know what it's like to be in a liberal state. Massachusetts is a great state, and this is a solution for them. I'm a states' rights kind of guy. I think we should all be able to do what our state is best for us. I believe him. He's told me point blank on the bus when we had long talks, he is going to do everything he can to repeal Obamacare, and I believe him. I've looked him in the eye when he tells it to me, and I don't have any doubt that will be the first thing he does.
Curtis Loftus, South Carolina State Treasurer, Chairman of the Romney campaign in the state. We're happy to have this time with you tonight, sir. Good luck tonight. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Nice to see you.
I appreciate it. When we return, how the super PACs are really helping Newt Gingrich's campaign. Polls are going to be closing in South Carolina in just a few minutes. At the top of the hour, we will have our first characterization of the race there in just a few minutes. MSNBC's coverage of the South Carolina primary continues right after this.
This is not a prescription. This is Mary, who has a million things to pick up each month on top of her prescriptions. Thankfully, her Walgreens pharmacist recommended a 3-month supply. Now, Mary gets 3 refills in one, and for 3 months, she's done. Ask your pharmacist about a 90-day supply and how to save with the Prescription Savings Club. Individual memberships are just $5. Enroll today. Walgreens, there's a way to stay well.
Mid-grade dark roast forest fresh, full tank brain freeze cake donuts, rolling hot dogs, bag of ice, antifreeze, wash and dry, diesel self-serve fix-a-flat, jumper cables, 5% cash back. Right now, get 5% cash back at gas stations. It pays to discover.
Cranberry juice? Wake up!
That's good morning, veggie style.
For half the calories plus veggie nutrition, could have had a V8.
If no one ever challenged the status quo, the Earth would still be flat. Rock would have no role. For decades, Infiniti has challenged what a luxury car should be. We built the world's first high-performance hybrid to achieve 32 mpg, the first around-view monitor. We believe a luxury car should connect you to the road. It should move you emotionally and inspire. Infiniti, inspired performance.
If whole grain isn't the first ingredient in your breakfast cereal, what is? Now, in every box of General Mills Big G cereal, there's more whole grain than any other ingredient. That's why it's listed first. Get more whole grain than any other ingredient. Just look for the white check.
Microvision. Compact, full-size readers from Foster Grant.
An accident doesn't have to slow you down. With better car replacement, available only with Liberty Mutual Auto Insurance, if your car's totaled, we give you the money for a car 1 model year newer. To learn more, visit us today. Responsibility. What's your policy?
From the front rows of fashion to the front lines of the Middle East, you can trust the New York Times to deliver the highest standard of reporting from the world's finest journalists. So become a digital subscriber and get unlimited access to the Times. Act now and get your first 4 weeks for just 99 cents. A digital subscription gives you the full experience. All the videos, multimedia, blogs, and breaking stories 24 hours a day. Plus, get access to the Times wherever you go with custom apps for your smartphone or tablet. Just call 1-800-257-0191 or go to nytimes.com 99 cents and see for yourself why a Times digital subscription is an experience you won't want to miss. Try it now, just 99 cents for your first 4 weeks.
Polls in South Carolina will be closed at the top of the hour, less than 10 minutes from right now. We will be able to give you our first characterization of the race when the polls close in just a few minutes. We've talked a lot about the super PACs, and in the battle for South Carolina, the pro-Gingrich super PAC Winning Our Future has been a major player. Joining us now on the birthday of Citizens United is NBC's Michael Isikoff with more from Washington. Mike?
Right, good point on the birthday, Rachel. Yes, look, if the big story tonight is Newt Gingrich's comeback, one big reason is that super PAC, Winning Our Future, the Gingrich super PAC.
Obviously, that's some sort of nefarious conspiracy undermining Michael Isikoff's audio there. I'm assuming it's an eccentric billionaire with an axe to grind. Is Twitter, am I trending on Twitter yet? We're going to be able to, can we go back to Mike right now, actually? Do we have it fixed? Can Mike come? Okay. We can't start that over yet. Actually, but on the subject of the super PACs, what was fascinating to me about the super PAC spending is that in New Hampshire, almost all of the negative ads were against Newt Gingrich. In South Carolina, it was evenly split between Newt Gingrich and Mitt Romney. And as much as everybody complains about the super PACs, and if everybody complains about negative advertising, I don't know of any more powerful force in politics than a negative ad. So does the negative ad spending against Romney in South Carolina partly explain what happened in terms of his collapsing numbers? Or, I mean, Lawrence, you're arguing that it was almost all the debates and that the negative ads didn't matter.
Well, no, I wouldn't make that. Certainly the debates are a factor. And when you look at the timing of what seems to be the moves in the polling, there were polls that were going on literally over the space of the debate. Yeah. And like in the same poll the day after the debate showed dramatically different numbers from the day before the debate. And so there's evidence of that. But to sort out exactly what the effect of each of these things was, what everyone is saying who's been in South Carolina is the television advertising is overwhelming, and my cousins in South Carolina are being drowned by it, and so it's definitely a factor, absolutely.
But with the money, Newt Gingrich is the master of the messaging, as Howard Feynman was pointing to it. He knows the notes to hit. He talks about, if this guy can't debate me, how's he going to debate Barack Obama? He puts it in simple terms quickly for people to grasp. He's always been able to do that.
And he's not doing it from index cards. He's not doing it from a staff right before the debate saying, hey, Newt, this, and this. I mean, I'd love to see Newt's debate prep. I bet it's like a half an hour of just kind of pausing.
My favorite thing on the negative ads today, quoted in the New York Times today, a 59-year-old office administrator in South Carolina named Tina Hampton. She says, last night I was trying to watch American Idol. example. I was like, I just want to watch Steven Tyler. I don't care that Newt has lied, and that Santorum has lied, and that Romney has lied, and that everybody's just a bunch of big fat liars. I'd really just like to see a coffee commercial at this point. Seriously. I mean, does it make people not show up and vote at all?
I think since time immemorial, this is what people say about negative ads. I just going back to what Chris and Howard said earlier, which I think is a really important point in presidential campaigns. The free media narrative is so much more important than the ad buys in a presidential